And this I guess there's a Trader Joe's here in Morgan Hill, and the people there are really nice, and I would like you all to, go down there and check it out.
And Carolina, and we're a big wine drinking region. Probably mostly at my house, but aside from that,
creations.
I
can't turn it upside down now because obviously it would spill everything. Once again. Hi, and welcome to Cooking for All Seasons. My name is Judy Keys, and this is my sister Debbie.
I think she forgot my name.
No.
Hi, it's nice to be back.
Oh, and here we are in this lovely home. It's our friend's house. His name is Michael, and he's graciously allowed us into his beautiful home. And today we're preparing a meal called a Summer's Eve. And our sponsor today for our food is Trader Joe's. And I know that that's like one of our most favorite places to shop.
It is, and I have to tell you, I live in North Carolina, and we just got our first Trader Joe's about 6 months ago.
And I know, you just need to tell the story about what happened. About that you went in and like almost all of the, by the time you got there, almost all the shops were
yeah, it was crazy. People were just standing in line. They couldn't keep the shelves stocked quick enough. I guess they opened right before the holidays.
Oh, okay.
So obviously that would explain a lot of that. But they were going crazy. I mean, I walked in and I thought, wow.
Well, they carry, the thing is that they carry so many different things. I mean, you can do like a whole breakfast, a whole lunch, a whole dinner. They have all the snacks. They have everything for everybody.
You know what, and what's really I love about it is if you have a student that's living, and needs, things that they can keep in the freezer that are healthful. They have really great things outside of, just your general, chicken finger kind of frozen food thing.
Yeah. You
have some really great alternatives, vegan and vegetarian and organic foods that are frozen and prepared. So it's a great place to shop for your parents if they're living, and they don't want to cook a lot, and they want to have some nice entrees in the freezer that they can use, for empty nesters that just need enough for two, which is great, or just for general purpose. I know I made the gnocchi with the gorgonzola sauce.
I know, you told me about that.
And I cooked for some very good friends of ours a few weeks ago, and it was unbelievably great. And I made a fresh sauce to go on it, but it was so easy. We'd been out boating for the day, and it was hot and summertime, and I just took it out of the freezer, put it in a baking dish, put some fresh tomato sauce on it, and heated it in the oven, and it was unbelievable.
Great. Well, I just want to remind all you guys that there is a Trader Joe's here in Morgan Hill, and the people there are really nice, and I would like you all to, go down there and check it out. And
everything.
You get this flyer. I'm sure you get this flyer. It's a Trader Joe's. This is their summer guide, but they send these out, and it's really interesting. They have all kinds of different things, and a lot of times they'll have recipe contests too. And I think they did have one this year, but there's like all different kinds of things, and they have different, they'll have wine. They have wine information, and
well, and of course that's the home of the $2 chuck, which I'm sure
a
lot of people are aware. Maybe you've heard of it and aren't sure where people are getting it.
But that's where you.
But actually, their Chardonnay. The Chardonnay won the taste test.
Year 2005.
So, especially if you're doing big parties and stuff, and nobody wants to,
nobody needs to spend thousands of dollars on wine.
And especially if you're making like sangria or spritzers, or people are drinking it with ice cubes in it. It's a great way to go.
Well, you don't need to be spending a fortune. But anyway, today I'd like to say once again thank Trader Joe's for being really
our food
gracious to us. So once again, thank you. And then the other thing is today we also have a really interesting piece of a serving dish, and this is from a company called Wine Cast Creations. And this is really interesting. This young man makes these different things from wine casks. And you can see, it actually is a wine cask. And right now, at this time, you can get his pieces at LJB Farms. It's actually in San Martin on Fitzgerald. So go down there and take a look and see. He's got some really neat pieces.
He has like larger pieces and some other designs.
Oh, he's got this incredible. It's a whole wine barrel. It's a
cooler.
It's a cooler.
That you would take, live on your patio.
It's got wheels, but it's like the whole wine barrel. It's really neat.
You got to go check them out because I don't know how long those are somebody's gonna snag those.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I just thought this was so awesome. I'm gonna bring some of these to North Carolina, and we're a big wine drinking region. Probably mostly at my house, but aside from that, no. But we just thought these were cool. So we're gonna use this dish to
We're gonna do our first dish today.
Yeah, we're gonna present our first dish on this, which we thought was kind of cool. So,
yeah, and our first dish today is a. Well, I don't know. It's like
a bruschetta.
It's a bruschetta. It's a piece of a sourdough that we cut, and all you do is cut your sourdough bread, and all we did was brush a little bit of butter and garlic, and put it in the oven and toast it.
Yeah, we melted the butter, just regular butter, salted butter, because then you don't have to add salt to it. I know a lot of times we all hear, unsalted butter. So if you have unsalted butter, we want to add a little salt to it.
You just need to put a little bit in there.
We melted it in a little saucepan and then put some crushed garlic in it and just turned it off, let it kind of sit for a minute. Then take a pastry brush or your barbecue brush, as long as it doesn't have barbecue sauce on it. And just brush it real quick, lay them on a sheet pan, and just put them in the oven, 300 for about 10 minutes.
Well, actually, we had a convection oven, so it's like 3 1/4.
For about
10 minutes, and then
turn it off.
Turn the oven off and just let them sit in there.
And everybody's oven varies, so you just, the one thing that I always remember to do, and when I don't remember to do it, I always make this error, set a timer.
Yeah, because otherwise
then you go to the effort of cutting all the bread and making the butter, and then if you burn it, you have to start over, and that's no fun.
You have burnt toast.
Yeah, and that's no good. So set yourself a timer.
Have to start over again. But this time we were lucky we didn't burn the toast. So then the first thing we're going to do is, this is a gorgonzola, which is an Italian blue cheese, and it's mixed with some mayonnaise and a little bit of, I put in some Dijon mustard and a little bit of cracked pepper. And we're just going to put a little bit of this. Here, let's do a few. You do a few, I'll do a few.
I'm going to grab a spoon.
Okay.
So now, but you want to make sure that you build your little bruschetta with the buttered side up. And if you make a few mistakes, it's still going to taste good. Look for the shiny
side.
So how do you build these, Judy?
Okay, so you're just going to put, here. I just put a little bit on like this.
A little schmear.
A schmear.
Yeah.
You're not, you can. And just
not too much, because you don't want anybody wearing it when they're eating it. So our tendency is to go ooh, more is better, but
the blue cheese is not strong, but it definitely has
a kick
to it, so it has flavor. And then this is some arugula,
which also is called rocket.
And then you're just going to put a little bit on.
Now, the thing about this that's so important is to build the sandwich this way, because then it'll stay together.
Otherwise, you're going to...
And there's an alternative then, too. If you don't care for blue cheese, you can use a horseradish sauce.
You can use any kind of sauce.
Or just a mayo mustard combination. If you have some taste-sensitive guests that... or for yourself, if you don't care for that, or you can do a combination of different ones. So it's kind of nice. So you put the rocket.
Just put a little rocket on it. A rocket is also very peppery. So if you're not an arugula fan,
spinach would work. Baby spinach.
Baby spinach, or even the baby. What is that?
Like the little mesclun.
Yeah.
It's just, it's really kind of cool on the palate, and it's just pretty because it's green. So, you could even skip it if if it's not something you want to do. But we like it this way.
I think you need a little bit of green.
Need the green, and it's just, it's there.
And then
it's pretty.
This is here. Our fingers are clean. You like 2?
No, 1 is fine.
Okay, so you're bending yours
and
over?
And then what's the next? And then the next.
Okay, so she's bending hers
So,
over.
wait, you're going to talk about the meat. Now, this is a Chateaubriand, which is a sirloin, right?
Yeah, so you have to, in this case, okay, what we're doing is we're serving steak to the customers, or steak to our
friends.
They're
not paying us.
They're not paying us. But we're serving steak to everyone. It's fancy, but it's inexpensive because in a way, this is only 3 pounds, and in a way, this is going to feed 25 people. So,
but this is exceptionally good meat, though. This is
right.
Neiman Ranch.
This is Neiman Ranch, from Trader Joe's, and so it's very good. Use good meat. Use something good, because remember, they're going to bite into this, and if it's tough, you're going to have a problem.
Right. Now, if you wanted to, you could use a better cut of meat if you choose to. Yeah. But it's not necessary.
If you really want to, you can make little hamburger patties if you really, really wanted to really kind of get kind of. That's a lot of
patty making.
Yeah, but get yourself get a pound of something really good.
Because it'll go far.
Yeah.
Because you're slicing it thin.
They're really thin. It's been marinated for like an hour with whatever kind of marinade you like. If this one has lemons, a little sugar, some paprika, garlic, Worcestershire sauce.
Salt and pepper.
Actually,
I used lemon pepper. Which I thought really worked well in it this time. Okay. And this is a great marinade, but any marinade.
Actually, I am. You'll find the recipe on the website.
You can put it on?
I'll put it on the website.
It's my favorite.
It's my sister, and it'll say Debbie's marinade, so she gets the credit on this one. And then this is just some
sweet onions.
Sweet onions that we've.
Can you see these? Okay. And they're caramelized in olive oil and not butter.
And not butter because?
We're using them at room temperature, and we don't want the butter to congeal. And butter, if you're going to use it, needs to be warm.
Yeah.
So
if you're going to make these warm,
then you could, serve them hot or, on the warmer side. You could do it in butter. But the nice thing is that it's a little more health friendly.
Yeah.
And then we just put a little salt in the onion to sweat them out a little bit and cook them down low, caramelizing them, which is slowly bringing the sugars out, which turns it brown, and then added a little balsamic vinegar and cooked that out a little bit so it added a sweetness to it, and then some fresh thyme. Very little. You could use fresh rosemary. You could use any herb that you like, or none at all if you choose to. And then these. The trick though is when you're cutting the onion, don't cut rings because they're hard to maneuver on the top.
Well, if you cut rings, you have to cut them
in half.
Then you want to cut them in quarters.
Yeah, so cut the onion in a size that's going to be easy
so you don't have to mess around.
To put on the appropriate size, toast that you have.
So, you could make these big. If you wanted to make big sandwiches,
you could do it on.
You could do the same thing like this. You don't have to make the bread, crispy. You could actually do the same thing with a piece of with a nice French roll. Toast
well, this would make a
butter,
great,
garlic, French roll, toast.
You could even make it a panini thing and make use a sourdough slice. Use the same ingredients. I would maybe put the spread
the gorgonzola spread.
The gorgonzola spread on both sides of the bread.
Yeah.
And then because
then I would maybe add some cheese.
Ooh, some Fontina cheese.
Some Fontina, or even some provolone.
Yeah, that would be good. Or smoked provolone.
Yeah. Okay, so like we're getting, and then you pull it apart, then you put the fresh.
Back to earth.
Okay. But anyway, I mean, there's like a lot of ways you can do anything, but in this case, as you can see, these are sort of like.
Well, it's a nice hearty.
Yeah, we're sort of today. This is I needed to tell you exactly what the menu was, and I kind of got excited, as I always do. But we're doing these sandwiches. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is a pasta. But it's a pasta that we're going to be doing at room temperature, be serving it at room temperature, so that you don't have to. It's this is a summer's eve, and this is supposed to be a summer. This is a summer day. It's not going to be 90 outside, so we don't want to worry about having beef or chicken in it or something that somebody could get sick. And this is
and
supposed
nothing
to be
really warm in temperature,
Yeah.
because who wants to eat hot food when it's been 90 degrees
so it's
outside?
sort of elegant. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is actually a shrimp louis. So we have some really interesting different things that look kind of fancy, but in reality are really pretty
Simple, perhaps.
pretty inexpensive in a way. To make it look like it's a very elegant
Well,
dinner.
it's sophisticated but not pricey. I think and it's tasty.
Very
And we're going to do the salad in a way such that it will appeal to those who do not eat seafood.
And you need to really do that, and we'll get into that when we get to that point. So as you can see right here, this will be filled up. And people will eat them because they've already been eating them before we started. We had
We had to shoo them out off the set.
and we had taste testers, mainly our girls, our family.
They're eating the props. It's not good.
They had to taste it. So anyway, we're going to close right now, and we're going to get ready to do our pasta, and we'll be right back with you. We're back. Next course. But wait a minute. I didn't forget, but we have this phenomenal dessert.
Oh, she's just being silly. It is not.
We have a phenomenal dessert made by my sister. It's a peach and blueberry tiramisu.
Well, and it came about because we had, a bunch of peaches that, we didn't, my sister did, and she cooked them. So we need to use them, so I paired them with some blueberries, and we made it kind of a tiramisu. So we'll show that at the end, and I'll give you a little background on it. But we didn't have enough time to. It's a kind of a time-consuming preparation. So
because it has to sit for like 24 hours in the refrigerator.
So we'll go over it briefly at the end.
Yeah.
So I can kind of give you
and
the
the
background
recipe
on it.
will be online. So. Also, along with Trader Joe's being our food sponsor, our equipment sponsor today is
Crusade.
La Crusade. And one of the things that I got from them was this really neat. I don't know if you guys ever slice your garlic, but slicing garlic is so cool.
This is like a mini mandolin.
Yeah, but it's so neat. Here, I'm going to show you guys. Watch. First of all, this one's neat because it's got this neat little thing in the back where you twist it, and then you hold it, and it just stays right here.
It's a no fear mandolin.
Yeah, and then if you put this up like on this side. Let me do it like this. Then you put it up here and you twist it like this. Then it doesn't go down there. And you don't have to worry about it. But it works really, really neat. And sliced garlic is really nice.
Well, it lends a mellow garlic flavor instead of an intense. It doesn't.
Well, I think the one thing is that it really looks neat. They look like little. I use it a lot when I make homemade pasta. When I'm making, we're toasting over here. We have olive oil.
Turn it down a little.
Turn it down.
Just kidding. It's nice when you use it in dishes. It looks pretty, and it kind of melts into the dish nicely when it's sliced really thin, don't you think?
Yeah.
There are quite a few Asian dishes, I think, that use sliced garlic.
What?
It's hard to slice it that thin by hand.
You just
so
can't.
This is
You
really
just can't
useful.
do it. And then if you put it into the hot oil,
Here, let me show. I mean, it's like paper thin.
and they get crispy, and they're like garlic chips.
We could fry them.
Yeah.
A little dip.
Yeah.
A miniature dip.
But they're neat. They're neat. See? Isn't that cool?
So now that is going to be the aromatics that are going to go in the oil. That was some chili flakes, right? Which we're starting right now.
The chili flakes in the hot, and that's hot olive oil.
So this is really a low cholesterol meal as well. Because
no butter in this
No
one.
butter?
No butter.
And
We have...
we pre-cook the pasta. So
Right.
it's kind of nice, especially if you work and you're having guests and you want to do things in advance. There's quite a few things in this that are easy because the pasta can be cooked in advance.
Okay, I have a trick. If you are, even if you're serving pasta for dinner, and you need it hot, even for hot sauce, and you need to cook it for your kids, and you have time the day before, or whatever, cook the pasta, cool it. It has to be cooled, which normally you don't put pasta in water, but in this case you have to. So if you put it in a plastic bag, you have to be really careful, but actually you can warm it in the microwave. I've done that before.
Well, you could put it in a plastic, like one of those disposable, like Gladware bags,
Yeah.
right?
You can do that, or you can actually put it in the bowl that you're going to serve the pasta in, as long as it's microwave safe.
We'll make sure of
Hello.
that.
And then get the pasta warm again, and then put your sauce over it. It's kind of
a time saver,
Yeah.
and that's a great hint.
Yeah.
But, Judy, I think when we were discussing these recipes, long distance, and Judy was, we were developing the menu for tonight, and really this is all her design. The thing that I love so much about this dish was that pretty much everything is used. You can use a roasted peppers that are ready-made.
Yeah.
Capers are obviously, you don't make your own capers. Other than, prepping the tomatoes and cooking the pasta, it's a very low effort dish.
Well, and the other thing is, this is real easy to make hot.
Or hot, yeah.
You don't have to. This is a winter dish too. You can do this, not have to serve it at room temperature.
Right.
Come home from work, just really throw whatever kind of vegetable. And I know a lot of people talk about different. Making this kind of pasta is not a new thing, but everybody.
What's new to us for this?
Yeah, it's just kind of fun in the summertime. It's an inexpensive way to show off the summer bounty. How are we doing over there?
Well, we're great, and we're gonna put some anchovy in the heat, and I'm gonna take we got 2 pounds of pasta, so I would say 5 good anchovy. Would you say about 5 anchovy fillets?
And you have to talk about anchovy. What are anchovies before they're anchovies?
They're sardines.
They're sardines, and sardines come from
Our bay in the Monterey Bay.
And
or from Italy.
Yeah, and a lot of things have anchovies in them that you don't really realize, because anchovies are one of those backstreet flavors that people don't realize are in a lot of things, and they're like, what makes it that?
What gives it the
What gives
richness?
it that richness?
It's what it is it creates a depth of flavor that is not recognizable as an anchovy, unless you're putting it on your pizza
And you
in a
see it.
fillet, and you know. But a lot of people say, for example, oh, I love Caesar salad, but I don't like it with anchovy. Well, most of the time they don't realize that it's in it, and they just don't see it.
Okay, look at this. Is this so totally cool?
That is garlic perfection.
Can you see it?
So anyway, but back to the anchovy. we're going to put them in the oil. And basically what happens is as we heat them, they just kind of melt into the oil. And they give a salt line. So, you know, we're going to be careful with their salt once these are added.
Right.
So keeping that in mind when you do...
We're going to keep salt in mind for everything, because everything that we're putting in, except for... We got Kalamata olives from Trader Joe's, which are cool because they're all pitted. Please, if you can, get your Kalamata olives pitted.
Well, the other thing, too,
because
is check... I've been slicing them. You've been watching me. I cut them in half. That way, there can be some pits and pieces.
Right.
That way, you're sure that...
Because you don't want anybody chomping down on one of these things. And,
I
mean, you don't have to slice them, but as long as if you don't slice them, you want to make darn sure before you put them in your pasta that they got a hole in them and there's no pit.
Well, I mean,
because they're going to break your teeth.
Well, they will, or choke, and you know, even though it says pitted, there may be one that missed. So you always want to check those. And
then the other thing we're going to be putting in are some, these are capers, and these are Italian capers in there.
The little ones.
And
they're salty, briny, and they pop in your mouth, and they are outstanding.
So now we've got a lot of salt already. And we've got our, these are roasted peppers.
Red and yellow.
And
cut into, you know, a nice sized piece. You know, nobody wants to struggle with a big, you know, half a pepper on their plate, you know. So, especially if it's outside and it's casual, you want everybody to be able to eat something with a fork pretty much and not have to be able to sit and cut with a knife and blah, blah, blah. So
yeah, because remember, this is a summer's eve and people are going to be helping themselves, and there's not, you know, when you have a party, you try to at least have seating for about 2/3 or so of your guests, especially unless you're serving something like steak or chicken, where people actually have to sit down and cut it. In this case, all these things will be actually things that they can either pick up in their hand or that they don't have
use
to
a fork with. They're going to do the twirly with the fork.
And then we're going to add in some fresh herbs. We have some basil and some fresh parsley, and what else do we have over there?
I think what's really the best part that's fresh is the phenomenal tomatoes that my parents grew.
These are just incredible. I
have more here.
I have to give my mom and dad. I guess my dad was the one. Well, our dad was the one. I mean, these are just incredible. Look at,
those are the heirlooms, which we're going to use for the salad.
These little peppers.
He had one weigh in at 14 ounces the other day. He told me.
Yeah,
but they're like picture perfect, but they taste good.
Yeah.
So if your neighbor says, "Do you want tomatoes?"
Yes, you want
the answer is always yes. I would love your tomatoes.
So these tomatoes, what we've done is we've cut them and we've seeded them, because in this case you don't really want the seeds in it, and we've just.
Well, the trick to seeding them though is can I just show real quick?
Yeah, go.
Let me just show you. There's a couple ways, and I'm going to show you actually the fastest way. And these are already washed. If you cut it, okay, this is the stem side. I'm going to cut it crossways, okay, down like that. So you're exposing all of the seed on the inside, and you have a bowl.
Have a bowl. Here. Oop, I have a bowl. I got a bowl.
Come on back.
I got a bowl. Here's
okay,
a bowl.
So you have your little bowl, and then all you need to do is take your finger, and then you can just take your seed out just like that.
Yeah, because and
then just give it a little jerk like that,
and a gentle squeeze.
And you're going to get some tomato. Depends on the variety. Some are going to be easier to do than others. This one is really kind of a salad tomato. This has a lot of seed.
Yeah.
Some of the like aroma tomato is going to have a more thicker wall, and it's going to generally be a meatier tomato. And then they still vary in that.
But something. Another thing is when somebody gives you tomatoes, just cook with them, seed them. They all taste good.
And it's the thing we do is you're going to use a lot of tomatoes to make a little sauce. So cut them all, seed them all, and then cut them in half, seed them, and then go and prep them for your dish. And you kind of make a little assembly line. And it makes it go a lot faster.
But these were just beautiful.
And they taste so wonderful.
I know you guys aren't in here, but it smells like anchovies. So the anchovies melted out. So
Are they already done?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you think that was enough, or do you think we should add a little?
Well, here, let's give it a stir. Okay, I know you guys can't. Can you see me? I know
You're
you're
going to
looking at my
stir
back.
it.
I'm just going to stir it.
You know, anchovies are used a lot in Italian cuisine, and
I'm going to add the garlic now.
okay, now it's not too hot because you don't want the oil super hot when you put the garlic in, because the garlic is so thin, it's gonna cook really fast, and we're not frying the garlic.
Well, you just sent. I know you guys. You can't see me. Can you see me?
But it's important to remember that when you do put that thin sliced garlic in, that the oil should not be blasting hot, because it's going to fry and burn instantly. So you want a gentle flame.
I'll come back, because what you want is you want to flavor the oil. And in this case, we're not worried about having a real hot oil base, because we're serving a room temperature. So our oil is actually at the right temperature now.
It's probably at about 100 degrees, is my guess. So it's just probably above body temp.
So we're adding
infusing it.
Yeah, we're adding our flavors in now, because we're just putting our flavors in now.
And I think I'm done with the olives, Judy. And just remember that everything here is salted. So normally we would salt as we moved along, and particularly in tomatoes, because these have a very low acid, and they're going to need it. But because we're using so many items that are already salted, we want to make sure not to overdo it.
Look at this. I have to show them.
Okay, you're going to bring... Judy's,
I have to show this to you. Can you see this? I mean, can you see here? If I put this here, can you see this? It looks the garlic. If you can see
it's
that,
floating in it.
It's like
beautiful.
floating, because it's like so light, because it's been sliced so thin. Doesn't it look beautiful? So what you're now getting is like all the really good oils and stuff from the garlic and the good flavor.
And it's infusing. So we want to make sure we get the chili flakes in and the garlic before the other ingredients.
And you actually have, see, there's just slight bubbles coming up. So you're not, the oil is just at the right temperature. So this is cool. Okay.
So you can set that here. Do we want to...
Actually, we can just finish mixing here.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
So the temperature, like I can put my hand over this, and you can smell it. The camera crew is smelling it. But really, really, really important not to have too hot of oil, or this dish is not going to work. And when the garlic burns,
that's it.
It's going to be bitter, and so.
Oh, and you have to start. You have to start over.
Yeah.
You cannot save it. You can't even save the oil, because it has then flavored the
that's
oil.
Right. That's right.
And and it really imparts a really
bitter flavor.
Bitter flavor. So you want to put your olives in here?
So we're gonna So this was just these are from Greece. These are from Trader Joe's, 6.5 ounces. Please again make sure that you cut them all. Oop, I see I found a stray, and that could be the one that had the seed in it. So, and pitted means that the pits are removed. It doesn't mean that they're pitted like they were added. I had a friend ask me that one time, so I just thought it was kind of funny.
So in other words, they took out the pit and then they repitted them?
Do we want all of these, do you think, or is that enough? I think all of them.
Why not? It's
not?
a party. So, okay.
Pitted means without pits. I just thought that was pretty funny. Okay, next thing, we want to slide some pepper. Oh, what about the tomatoes?
Let's put the tomatoes.
Well, no, it's going to...
No, let's do the tomatoes last, because tomatoes break down, and once you put your tomatoes in, they're going to begin to break down, and then you're going to actually end up... The idea for this pasta is to have a tomato that looks like a tomato, and not to break down out to a sauce. So we want the tomatoes to kind of look like they're still whole.
Also be careful if you are doing this on the stove and the flame is on. if there's any water content in the things that you're adding, it will splatter the oil. So be very careful.
So really, at this point, if you're making this, turn your flame off.
Which makes it a lot safer.
Yeah.
But it really will. It's like putting in French fries that are wet in some oil. It's going to splatter up. So be very careful of that. So that's done. We've got this. This is done out of the way.
Put the capers in.
Put in a handful of capers. And now that was the equivalent of about 2 or 3 large roasted peppers. We use red and yellow because they're sweeter. You could use green, but I think this really lends itself more to the sweeter side of the pepper, a riper pepper. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
And this isn't the green one.
I just used a handful of
capers.
Capers. I mean, a couple tablespoons. If you don't like capers, don't worry about it. Don't. You
gotta have capers in it.
Well, but some people are not caper friendly.
Well, we were talking about those caper berries. Now, those are the really large ones, and I would probably not use those for this dish.
You have to.
Or you could garnish the whole platter with them, but I wouldn't.
I mean, what is it? Is that Middle Eastern? Middle Eastern foods use a lot of caper. Is it Middle Eastern use a lot of caper?
I love them, so I don't know.
Somebody uses a lot of caper berry type thing, and you have to really.
I think there's some.
Let's see.
Others.
Okay. Let's taste this. You know what we need is you want to grab. Oh, here. Some pepper.
A little. Now, so the salt thing is for the moment.
For the moment. And
this is that cool electric one. This is the favorite tool of the kitchen here.
Yeah.
Pretty nifty, huh?
Okay, now not everybody has one of these. I don't have one
I don't either.
This belongs in the kitchen.
I think that's the nifty. That's nifty.
Okay, be careful because it's fun to do. You're going to over pepper stuff. And I know pepper's like the thing, Well, actually salt is, but, all the different kinds of salts this year. But be careful if you get a pepper mill like that because you're going to start really peppering stuff a lot and you might not like it.
But it does need salt.
It does need salt.
And
okay. And what? More garlic?
More pepper.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to, Judy, go ahead and get some fresh herbs prepped.
Okay.
These herbs came from my mom's garden and dad's garden. We have parsley, Italian parsley, which is, I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with that, but it's the flat leaf, okay? And it's more flavorful and it's easier to cut than the curly. So, buy this. This is some oregano and some fresh rosemary, and I have some thyme in the back. So
you do? Where are you going? If you have time.
I have time. I'm running out of time.
Oh.
So I'm going to really do this quick. And then here's some fresh basil. So what do we want? I think some fresh parsley and basil in this.
Yeah.
Keeping it simple.
I don't want rosemary in this.
No, rosemary's strong, and I don't know. Maybe a little oregano, or what do you think? It's up to you.
Yeah, you could.
Okay, we'll go with a little
Actually,
oregano.
in reality, fresh oregano has a very mild flavor. This is the oregano.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
It has.
And there's a couple different kinds of oregano, but you could use any. If you have Mexican oregano, and it's an Italian dish, it's okay. It's not that big of a difference. So don't not make
dried oregano is much more pungent than fresh oregano.
Right. And if you don't have fresh, you can use dry. But remember, it's going to be more concentrated.
It's going to blossom. You know what I'm going to do? This oil. I'm going to put the rest of this garlic in.
Yeah, I would. Go ahead. So, and then I would put some heat under it just a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
And then let it warm up a little more, and then put the tomatoes in because because we're sitting here chatting. It's gotten a little cooler, so I'm just stripping the leaves off. But when you have a tender herb that's just new growth, with the exception of rosemary, sometimes because it can have a real piney stem. If you have a little stem in it. When you're chopping it, it's not any, it's, you know, you don't have to worry about it. Then the same goes for like parsley or whatever. As long as it's not hard to bite it, you know, when you put your teeth down in it, you're going to be all right. And thyme especially, because it's got that little teeny tiny leaf on it. So we're going to strip some of this off, some more of this off. I get impatient. Take the tender ones off. And make sure when you buy herbs that you wash them. If they're like the ones that come in the package are washed, but the ones that are tied loose in the market are what you would want to treat the same as any other produce, that you would want to make sure that you wash it. So make sure you do that.
And you really have to add the fresh herbs last, because otherwise you lose all the flavor.
Right, and a sharp knife, because you don't want to just macerate it and bruise it too much. I mean, there's gonna be a little bit, but
this is like dueling chefs. All I did was take the basil and roll it a little bit.
And I'm going to take some of this parsley. Now there was a little thyme popped out of there. I take my herbs, and if you have an herb garden, this is what I tell my students a lot.
And wait a minute, what students would those be?
I teach cooking classes in North Carolina, but
she teaches at Williams-Sonoma in North Carolina.
But the great thing is, you know, everybody wants to grow herbs and then says, "Oh, well, I grow them but I don't use them." Well, the great thing to do is when you cut them and bring them in and make a bouquet for your kitchen. You can put some flowers in there too, but it just scents the kitchen. It's so nice. You cut the ends off like you would a flower. You know, stem, and put them in water, and they'll stay fresh. Now, there's lots of different thoughts about this. Some people say, you know, I keep mine in my refrigerator in a little glass with water, and I put plastic over it. I think that's too much trouble. I just, I just keep it in a vase, and when they go icky, then I throw them out and I bring in new ones.
Well, you know what?
And then they're there to use.
When I buy them, because sometimes I don't grow enough. But when I buy them and and I have too many and I haven't used them all, especially basil or anything, I just whiz them around in a little Cuisinart, and I put some olive oil in it, and I put it in the bottom of a little plastic bag, and then I put it in the freezer, and then when I need it, I don't put Parmesan cheese or pine nuts or anything. I'm not talking about making pesto or anything.
Right.
I just put it in there, and then because usually when you're using basil in cooking, not fresh to use in a salad or like we're using it, or even if you're using it for like we're going to use it, you usually are using some sort of olive oil, and then I just lob off a piece of it.
Right, unless you could use, like I grow Italian basil, and I grow Thai basil, and you can substitute regular basil for Thai food, but that's the best thing to do. And you know what I found is a great way to store it? If you have one of those old-fashioned ice cube trays.
Oh yeah.
And then, you know, like say you have a bunch of it. Somebody says, I have like a shopping bag full of basil, do you want it? And you go, of course I want it. And then you make sure it's clean, chop it up with some olive oil and a little salt, and then you put it in. Now, this much basil is going to make this much chopped. So, you know, it's kind of like spinach. It's high in water, and it compresses quite a bit. But I have a friend that puts it in little ice cube trays, and then pops them out of the ice cube trays when they're frozen, and puts them in a Ziploc bag. And so whenever she makes pasta sauce, she just takes one of those little cubes out and sticks it in it. And it's like you had fresh basil in the middle of December, and it's really great.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see me. Hello? I'm just mixing the olive oil.
So you just got it a little warmer and added the rest of that garlic, right?
Yeah.
Do you want a little spoon to taste it? Because I think it's going to need a little more salt.
I did put salt.
Okay, you want some more pepper? She just wants to play with the pepper mill again, I'm sure.
Hi.
So anyway, when you do cut your herbs too, take your knife, and I don't know if you can see this, but you want to take your knife from underneath, and you want to flip it over so that you get the larger pieces up on the top, or the smaller pieces on the top, larger on the bottom, so on and so forth. So, just keep rotating it with your knife, and just remember, if you like to use your food processor when you're doing your herbs, sometimes it works well, and sometimes it doesn't work well. So sometimes the knife is the best way to do it. How are we working on that? Are we good?
Okay.
It's good? No more salt. No more salt. But that tastes awesome. Now, it's got that red chili flake, and it blooms out when the oil is hot, right? So you want to be a little careful. A little goes a long way, especially if you have some heat-sensitive people that are your guests. So, I think a lot of people like spicy food these days, but there's always somebody that doesn't. So, they can always add some more to it before they eat it, right?
Yeah.
You can always season it with that as a condiment. You want these tomatoes? Now, see, the nice thing about these tomatoes, too, is we seeded them, so we don't have a lot of liquid that's in here. So, first of all, it is going to splatter a little bit in the oil, but it's not going to dilute the flavor of what we've already made.
No.
So that's another really good reason to take the seeds out. So you're going to get the intense tomato flavor without, without all the tomato water.
Let's see.
I'd say at least half of them.
Yeah. Well, they can't see me. You need to stay over.
So anyway, so she's working on that, and then we've got our basil chiffonade, our little ribbons of basil, and we've got some the parsley and a little bit of the oregano, and I'm gonna actually put these together and mix them. Now, if you have leftover fresh herbs, if they stay dry and you haven't over processed them with your knife, you can keep them in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator. And oftentimes I'll take a little piece of paper towel and put it into the bag so that it helps absorb the moisture, because when they're in this state, we don't want to keep them wet because the leaves have been cut. So, once you've gone to the effort to cut it all, there's no sense in wasting it. So if you have a little too much, just keep it in the fridge, and you can use it in your omelet the next day.
Okay, things are heating up.
Okay.
So we've got a few minutes.
So I think we've got pretty. I don't think we've left anything out.
So remember, get one of these. You'll love it. I love it. This one works really
Now
cool.
that one has a little grater too,
Yeah.
so if you don't want to slice, but you need to grate. I wonder if this worked good for ginger.
Yeah, we're good for ginger, also for nutmeg.
Very cool.
Fresh nutmeg, especially when you're doing white sauces. You have to have a little bit of nutmeg.
That's one of those flavors that's in there that nobody can tell.
Yeah, that's a
good one.
That's the
Secret.
That's the secret to your
Bechamel sauce, which
Okay.
is a white sauce.
Okay, we got it. Okay. Okay.
Ooh.
Oop.
Oh, this is pretty.
Okay, taste it. Can you see this? Well.
Now we are going to use some Parmesan.
Yes,
Shave this at the end,
shaved
right before
Parmesan.
service. So actually, I think it needs more salt.
Okay. Well, the one thing is, remember that the pasta was salted in the water, but...
And I think it could maybe use a little more capers.
Okay. I like it. She likes capers. She really likes capers. Okay.
That's good.
So, okay. So, here we go. All right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, remember that it's going to go on bland pasta, so that's going to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
Go
That's
ahead.
good.
You want to add in your fresh herbs,
Well,
or here's the.
you want to do that, or you want to put them on top of the pasta?
Well, I think we should put some in
And then some on top?
and some on top.
Okay, so I'm going to divide this in half. Take a nice
I mean,
handful.
look, this is
2 pounds.
the pasta. Can you hear it? Yeah. Okay. It's when I'm moving around, things get kind of.
And now this is so pretty.
Okay.
Can we see?
All right. Okay.
It's colorful.
Okay.
And it's
All right.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
It's
So we're gonna-
actually vegan. Well, except for if there's egg in the pasta, but
Okay, this is fun. I know this doesn't look very professional, but then again, okay. We aren't professional. We're home cooks. We're doing this for fun. Oh, you know what? Use those little things that we got.
I will. I'm just getting this a little covered up here.
Okay? How's that?
Okay, you go do that, and I'm going to open this up. These are from Le Creuset. These are pasta servers or tossers, or for salad, either.
Yeah.
Either or, right? Isn't this what you were
Yeah.
intending? Okay.
So I
Just have
think
to open it.
they've been washed, so.
Yeah, I just kept them in the box so that,
We didn't lose them.
yeah, but just so you could see what they were and how they came. It's salad and pasta helpers.
They're neat.
And they're nice because they're kind of can get down into it with these.
Okay.
And they've got little cutouts here for your thumbs.
So I know she's going to say,
Okay,
okay,
that's
that's enough.
I just said.
I knew she was going to say it. I could feel it.
That's what I just said. Pull that spoon out for a second, honey,
Okay.
please.
Does that work good?
These work really well.
Yeah? Okay, so after this, we're going to keep mixing, and now we're going to, the next thing you guys are going to see, we're going to start making the salad. So we're going to mix this, get it on the plate, and we'll see you back in a few. Okay?
Cool. Perfect.
Hi, we're back again, and now we're on our shrimp louis.
Well, first of all, let's just, I just want to
Oh,
point
yeah.
out, I
Okay.
did some shaved Parmesan Reggiano on the pasta dish. And it's just kind of a fancy thing to do. If you have shredded parm or grated parm, that's totally
Actually, you know
appropriate.
at Trader Joe's you can buy it like that?
Yeah? I didn't know that.
I think they have it shredded
Well, we
like
just
that.
used a vegetable peeler on the cheese, so there's no trick to it, really. And it's
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, you can buy the cheese, the whole piece, or you can buy. I think you can buy it shredded. I
and
think
then
so.
this is the other the crostini or the bruschetta with the beef, and that's just looks so great on that dish.
I know. It's
Isn't
cool.
that cool?
It's
I
cool.
think that's cool. Okay, go. You can describe the salad that we're doing.
Well, we're making a shrimp louis. However, you know what we forgot?
Well, the shrimp is in the refrigerator.
The shrimp is in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
Because you really, I mean, in this case, this house is very cool right now, but you really don't want to bring out your seafood until you're ready to serve. And in this case,
we're not quite
we're not
ready.
quite ready.
So in a
So-
few minutes, our assistant will get the shrimp out of the refrigerator
Our
for
assistant will get the shrimp out of the refrigerator.
But this is a mix of romaine and
iceberg.
iceberg, which is
Iceberg
it's
is traditional, I think, probably more
well,
so.
but I think
can
romaine has
use
a
whatever.
nice flavor.
Yeah,
I
use-
think I probably would not use too many lettuces that are like the mesclun mix is really tasty, but it deflates really
Well, that-
easy. It doesn't
you know-
hold up to the heavy shrimp and whatever.
The baby greens, they're not. They taste really good and they look really nice and they take a really light salad dressing. They aren't going to hold up. I'm going to be making a traditional Thousand Island dressing, and my sister's going to be
Or
making
Louis dressing.
a Louis dressing. not 1,000, but a Louis. And actually, it wouldn't be 1,000 right now. It'd be 1 billion island dressing, inflation. But and then my sister's going to make a traditional vinaigrette because, in reality, not everybody eats a mayonnaise-based salad dressing.
So you have alternative.
So you really want to, sort of.
And this is everybody's going to dress their own salad.
And they're going to put their own shrimp on their salad. So if somebody doesn't eat shrimp, they're going to make this salad. Not necessarily a shrimp Louis. They're going to make it their own.
Shrimpless Louis.
A shrimpless Louis.
I laugh at my own jokes.
A shrimpless Louis.
Okay.
But anyway, so.
This is like my favorite dressing.
Oh, also, first thing, aren't these beautiful? These bowls are from Le Creuset.
Oh yeah, and we have little
And we
non-slip
have these little,
pads.
so that you don't like.
And we have matching whisks.
I know, aren't they cool? I love them. So, I mean, it's kind of, I
It won't
like
mark the inside of your bowl because I have some bowls that I whisk, and I've got a black mark inside the porcelain from the whisk.
But these are really neat because they're, if you notice,
they're
like
comfy on your hand.
Yeah, and you can hold on to them, and they're nice because they're made of silicone, so you can use them in pans at a high heat.
And the nonstick pans.
And the
non-stick,
nonstick, yeah.
Cool.
So thank you
and
again.
you can find it in your drawer because it's red.
Red.
Which is a bonus sometimes.
Yes. And the bowls, and you can find the bowls because they're red. And it's neat, these bowls can go in the oven and everything. So thank you again, Le Creuset, for helping us with all the neat utensils. I love them. I love red bowls.
I know you do.
Anyway. Okay, I have to get over that. All right. Okay, so mayonnaise. The next thing is, for me, is a little bit of horseradish. This is a prepared horseradish sauce. This horseradish has vinegar, a little bit of sugar, and obviously the horseradish in it. If you don't like this, use regular horseradish. If you don't like horseradish, don't put it in. This is a chili sauce. Now this brand
It says let's party.
Oh, and that's exactly what we're going to do. This is a homemade chili sauce. This brand's called Homemade. I like this brand.
We've been eating this since we were little.
Yeah, I like this brand. It's a little sweeter than I also brought another one with me.
Heinz makes one.
Oh yeah, and let's see. Ooh, sorry, had to turn around. Sorry. Obviously, you need some ketchup. I'm going to move this over here. Okay. Heinz makes a chili sauce.
This one's pretty good too.
And this one's good too. Mm-hmm. So,
taste which one and see which one
yeah, see which
like.
one you like. If you don't like either of them, pick out something else that you like. Other than that, that's pretty much how I make it. I think it tastes good. My family likes it.
I've been eating it for many, many years. It tastes pretty good.
So I'm going to be making that, and so
I'm going to do a classic vinaigrette, and we're going to do, this is really kind of a French vinaigrette, which would be classic. It's not really going to be an Italian vinaigrette because I'm going to add a little sugar and a little Dijon mustard. Since we have some tomato going on here, I'm going to do the mustard in this one, but you can substitute a little tomato paste or ketchup in with this. And basically, we're going to start with a little Dijon mustard, and you got to use Dijon mustard. You could use Pommery mustard, but you can't use the yellow mustard. It has to be a Dijon. And I do a good, we're a good tablespoon. And the nice thing about Dijon mustard is it acts as an emulsifier when you're doing a vinaigrette, so it holds the oil and the vinegar together, kind of like an egg yolk would do. And we're going to add a little sugar. Now, if you can't have sugar, you can use Splenda. in place of sugar, and it works great in this dressing. I do it all the time. So we're just going to add a healthy tablespoon or so of sugar. And what I'm going to do is add everything except the oil first. And the reason is then everything has a chance to kind of blend together. I think I'm going to skip the garlic in this because we have so much garlic and everything. Or what do you think? Should I put a little bit in?
Well, I you know, maybe
You want a little bit?
Well, I don't know.
A little hint of it?
Well, that's okay.
I mean, it's not a problem. I can do it. But this is a small clove, and we have that cutter, that little grater somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Just remember, this is uncooked garlic, so we don't want to overdo it. I mean, there's never too much garlic in anything in my family, but raw garlic sometimes can be a bit uncomfortable. So it's all right. I'll just take a knife here, and I got it right here. Oh, there it is. Let's see how this works on the other side. It goes this way, right?
I know you guys didn't see, but I put about that much mayonnaise.
Oh, this has got that stopper on it. That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Are you getting it?
Mm-hmm. Hello.
How'd that work?
It's not meant for that, so let's not do that one. It obliterated it. That's what it did. So it's not for garlic at that end. Maybe for hard, like nutmeg, just
I
like
think
you
like
said.
nutmeg, yeah.
It's not working for that. So we won't do that.
Probably you could do by hand, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
I will. So we're just going to put, I'm just going to put it in by hand. It's no big
Okay.
deal. So I'm just going to cut, just to give it a little flavor. But the reason why I'm putting all of the non-oil ingredients in is so that they have a chance to, the sugar has a chance to dissolve, and the ingredients just has a chance to blend together, because the oil will separate them out, and they won't quite taste the same.
Now you guys are probably wondering how much of this I'm putting in.
It's a family secret.
Don't tell anybody. I put in, this is like 64, this is what, 64 ounces is what? A half a gallon. Isn't this a half a gallon? 64 ounces is a half a gallon.
Yes.
I have to check.
It's 2 quarts.
And this is about, I don't know how many ounces this one is.
That looks like 8 ounces.
This is like about 8 ounces or so.
Well, that only comes in one size.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a small jar of the homemade and a large jar.
So I'm going to use like a whole jar of this in here.
Okay. I put some fresh, that really cool pepper in here, and I'm going to put some salt. You gotta add the salt along with the sugar, and that kind of balances everything out. And then I'm going to add some red wine vinegar, and I'm going to swirl it around, and we're going to do about a quarter to a third vinegar to 1 part vinegar or acid, lemon juice or whatever, to 2 to 3 parts olive oil or any other kind of oil. That's kind of a standard combination for a vinaigrette.
So I put in mayonnaise and the chili sauce and a couple heaping tablespoons of the horseradish.
Oops.
And now I'm going to whisk it. You guys want to see it? Okay.
I'm going to show you mine too then. See? It's a dueling dressing.
Na, 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 na. I even put the ketchup in because I want to taste mine. Isn't that pretty?
The one thing though is, remember,
this thing works great.
it's hard. You can add more of the red stuff, but it's hard to take it out.
Well, you can't. Well, no. Then you have to add more mayonnaise, and pretty soon you have like
Remember doing that?
You have 400, gallons of, Louis dressing floating around, and you have Louis dressing for 500. But it's just really a matter of your taste. I think the best Louis dressing I've ever eaten in my entire life was in Italy.
It was my mother's.
What was my mother's, other than my mother's, but was in Italy.
I never had it in Italy.
Oh my gosh. My husband ordered this shrimp, and this Louis dressing came, and it must have had whipped cream in it or something.
They probably made their own mayonnaise.
It was just like so good that I couldn't find anything. I was just
Else
looking
to dip in it?
to just on the table was just like, we have to eat all this dressing. And it was like, I kept trying to think, what did they put in that? And it must have been made from complete, like really good whipped cream or something. It was wonderful.
So it wasn't salty like mayo, or
Oh,
it was
no.
made with a different
The
base?
consistency was just
Ooh,
incredible.
that would be kind of a curious thing to do, huh? Well, shall I go ahead and talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which isn't quite as lovely as that, I know. But I whisked together the ingredients that I spoke about. Now I'm going to add the olive oil, and this is slightly sweet, but not super sweet. And you just basically add the sugar to balance the acidity of the vinegar. Now, if you want, you can make this with white wine vinegar, rice wine vinegar, combination of that with lemon juice. There's all different ways. So it's just kind of anything you like. You can put fresh herbs in it if you like.
Did you see me?
Did you add more? What did you add to it?
No, did you see it?
So anyway, the idea is when you're making a vinaigrette is to whisk while you're adding the oil while you're putting it in, and this will keep.
No, I just added a little
emulsifies it.
ketchup. You needed a little ketchup.
Uh-oh.
It just did. Just needed a little bit.
Okay, so that's about. So basically, I probably used, I'd say about maybe a half to 3/4 of a cup of vinegar, half a cup of vinegar, 3/4 a cup of vinegar, and probably a cup and a half of olive oil. So 2 parts. You know, you have to kind of just taste it. And this is the drawer of the endless spoons.
I mean, Michael has like incredible amounts of. Well, what do you think?
It's perfect.
You taste this.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm going to.
Put it in your mouth.
Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, it's the shisher. I knew
The
it.
magic sauce.
And doesn't this have
Anchovies.
It has anchovies in it. We just
Oh
gave,
no, the secret's out.
we just gave and people
I'm never eating it again.
and people who think they're like,
More.
I don't like too much.
That's a lot of dressing. That's good.
Okay, that's it.
Anyway, let me just show you this.
Okay.
It's
Then we have to hur- we
emulsified. You
have-
see, it's
okay.
not separated. And the reason that is because of the Dijon mustard in it. Dijon mustard's your friend when you're making vinaigrette because it will act as an emulsifier. It will eventually separate, but for the moment, it's doing pretty well. And then to this, you can steep some more garlic if you want, or fresh herbs, or add your salt and pepper and make your adjustments. Okay, all set. No, I'm good.
I'm not.
Oh, you want me to taste it? Or you're still eating it? I'm sure it's
Okay.
perfect now. So
That's it. We're done.
We're set with this. Now let's talk about
Okay, let's do the salad.
let's talk about what we would traditionally put on, what you traditionally find on a Louis salad, which could be shrimp or crab
or
or a
both.
combination. And you could put some lobster on there, but it wouldn't be like clams or oysters or
No,
anything
no.
like that. Traditionally, you would put a hard-boiled egg, tomato wedges, olives, asparagus, and avocado, if you like. Avocado is kind of a in between there. So we have a few different additional items that we thought would be great.
Well, especially, wait. especially for those people who were not
Eating the shrimp part of it.
Eating the shrimp
and
part of it.
the shrimp is going to magically appear here momentarily.
Can we ask our assistant to?
And also some lemon wedges, which would classically serve with seafood. But we did some marinated artichoke hearts, some fresh cooked beets that my niece did, and we have these things which are hearts of palm. And this is a really awesome, low-calorie, fat-free snack. I eat them, the jar full of them, and they'll come in a jar or a can. These are from Trader Joe's, and they are literally the hearts of palm shoots. And this is like a massive sized one right here.
A big palm.
This is really large. But they also come smaller like this. And I'm going to show you how I cut these and they stand up like that. It's really kind of a nice thing to have with your salad. And I'll just do the small one. Or actually, I do this one. To have them stand like that, I cut it in half. So we cut it in half this way, okay? And then I'm going to cut it at an angle, leaving a space before each end so that I have a full flat bottom to stand it up on. So we don't want to cut from one edge to the other edge. We want to be just shy of the edges. So then we cut that angle like that, and lo and behold, we have little pieces that stand up.
Kind of looks like sushi.
Yeah, it's kind of
roll.
So sometimes you'll see like egg rolls or stuff like
egg
that
rolls.
served to you like this in a restaurant, all standing upright and fancy. But there's a restaurant by me that has a big platter, and it's one of those Brazilian steakhouses. And I was like, oh, that's such a cute way to do it. So that's how we're doing that. And so there's those, and then these black olives. These are really large ones, so we left them whole.
I like olives.
When you're dealing with these black olives, like classic ripe olives, then we don't have to worry about the pits really too much. Once in a blue moon, you'll find one. But
would our assistant hand me one of those?
The shrimp? I'll get
Or
it.
can you get? Okay. Now, these shrimp are.
Eat this.
You see. These are Trader Joe's shrimp, and that's a nice size. And they come.
Oh, these are such good olives.
It says medium. It's a medium cooked shrimp. Okay. These are really nice to serve for, especially if you're going to have, have them separate. But whatever kind of, whatever you can do. But you can see that they're, and I'll pick this up with my fingers. I know you can see it.
Well, it's the perfect size. I mean, if you have smaller shrimp, like bay shrimp,
That's fine.
That's lovely. And if you have larger shrimp,
Then I would, if you had larger shrimp
I'd
and you were going to serve them, then I would take it and I would slice it in half.
you could slice it in half long way. Let me
Yeah,
show you what I mean
long
by
way.
that. This is a deveined shrimp, so you just go down the deveined area, so you
Yeah.
still have the curl.
Like
So-
that.
So you have it like this.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that would sort of stretch your dollar a little bit further.
Yeah, but the nice thing is on a salad, there isn't any need to buy the really large, expensive
No, it
shrimps,
isn't. It isn't,
because
and that's the whole point of this. You're serving shrimp, you're serving steak and everything, and really, it's a reasonable, dinner, but it has sort of fancy sort of back connotations. You're serving seafood, you're serving steak, you're getting the whole thing. So should we go ahead and just sort of?
Well,
I think we need to.
do we want to decorate around like that and do different things? Is that how we want to do that?
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and decorate this, and then we're going to set up the buffet, and then we're going to show you what the dessert looks like in a minute, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay? Thanks. Hi, and here we are. The buffet is ready. And we're ready for the
The crowd. The crowd comes in. I think this is looking pretty lovely.
Yeah.
I'm hungry, and sometimes I'm not hungry after cooking, but I'm hungry for this.
Well, this is not something that because you haven't cooked it all day and you haven't, the fragrance of it hasn't permeated your system all day. Like
that's true, though. That's really true.
So that does make a difference. We have our salad that we've created here. It's traditional. You have your olives, tomatoes, your eggs. We've added a little bit of difference because we're in California. We added our avocado. You've got your asparagus, your salad dressing. You've got your shrimp. And then for those people who are not into a shrimp louis, we've added some other things.
Or with the shrimp louis.
Or with the shrimp louis. Just because, everybody's a little different. You got your dressings, your two different kinds of dressings.
The vinaigrette and the louis
dressing. And you got your hearts of palm.
Here.
Which I think my sister will probably wipe out half that. And then you've got your pasta. And you've got your steak crostinis. And now, this is the dessert. And
it's
the pasta. You got your pasta? You want your pasta? We got the pasta. That was the cameraman, I just might say that, who was afraid that we may have.
They have to
they're
eat
hungry,
too.
and they thought that we may have missed pointing out the pasta. But there's plenty. You will be taken care of, I guarantee it. But anyway, they're funny. Because I'm not quite sure why they always are so nice and they always are here and they're always so kind to us. I think it's because they like
they're
to
hungry.
eat. They're hungry.
I think it's because they're hungry.
They're hungry.
I think it's because they're hungry.
So this is my sister's creation, and she did a beautiful job. And this, I think, is going to feed a lot of people.
It is.
This is a peach and
it's
blueberry.
The peach and blueberry tiramisu. So it's a tiramisu in
sort of California style.
In building it, but it doesn't have the traditional flavors of a tiramisu.
No, but it's got the mascarpone and it's got the whipped cream.
Right.
It's got the calories.
So instead of using, it does. And so for the syrup, I use Grand Marnier and some rum. So which kind of lightened it up. But
it's got
and the lady fingers. But the great thing is that this you make ahead, and it will serve a lot of people. And it's like a trifle Italian style, basically. And this is
it's got these really neat little lady fingers.
They're like little sponge cakes, and you really need to buy them. You can make them, but it's a lot of work, and these are excellent. And
this is by a company called Specialty Bakers.
But the thing that I wanted to bring out is that you can read a recipe for a tiramisu, and you can adjust it and make it to however you want to make it. You can add fruit, you can not add fruit. Traditionally it has the alcohol in the syrup that's really pretty cooked out because you're making a syrup. So it has an alcohol flavor, but it really doesn't have alcohol content. So don't be too afraid of that. But if you don't want that, you can always omit that. Just remember to use really good ingredients. And start on a small scale and play with it a little bit. You can do fresh strawberries. Especially if you have fruit trees and you're, canning or, preserving or doing freezer fruit or whatever.
The other thing you have to remember is it does take about 24 hours for it to set up because the mascarpone and the whipped cream have to sort of.
Should we cut a piece into it and see what it looks like? Here.
Oh, I guess. If you force me to.
Well, I mean, because you can't. And then we use these toasted almonds.
Well, actually, something. You make things like this, and just like anything else, you really kind of want to see what it looks like.
Well, and the first piece is always difficult. Like the first piece of pie, but it will be layered. Can you see that?
So there's the lady fingers.
And these almonds are toasted, and they came already toasted from Trader Joe's. That was a very cool thing. Nope. I'll get it in a minute. How's it taste?
Oh, I don't know.
So anyway, that's what that looks like.
It.
And because you can't really tell what it, I say layers and I speak of layers and so on and so forth, but if you don't see it, and it does improve with age. So, tomorrow it'll even be a little better and the next day, if there's any left, of course. So.
Okay. Well, the next time you see us, we're going to be eating. And we're going to close the cameras out for a moment, and then we're going to have some people come down the line, our guests, and they're going to be eating. But once again, I want to thank Trader Joe's for sponsoring us. Remember, Morgan Hill has a wonderful Trader Joe's, and I hope that you all go and visit. And the people that work there are just...
They're outstanding.
They're outstanding, and they are really helpful. And if you have any questions about what to make, what to do. I know this because I did work there, and they really do promote their products, and they want to help you. And
they're they'll very
answer
kind.
questions for you, and actually, if you ask them, if you're just so interested in something, they'll actually open something for you and let you taste it.
Yeah.
I mean that's how.
Well,
that's how
it's
really
really
nice they are
great
about
when you go through checkout. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh my gosh, that's so great! Have you tried it yet?" So that happens frequently when I buy things.
Well, you know what they do is they actually promote their employees. They actually have tastings, and when they bring in their products, the employees actually taste the products. So they promote. They actually want their employees to be tasting their products so that they can actually talk to the customers, from actual knowledge and not just go, oh hi, so they're very good about it. And the other thing is I want to once again thank La Crusade for being so sweet and nice to us about giving us all these really nice utensils, including that beautiful plate that the pasta's on, and it's
Wine Cast
Creations.
It's
I can't turn it upside down now because obviously it would spill everything. Once again. Oh, and I want to thank my sister for being here. She came here all the way from North Carolina, and I really appreciate it.
I have fun.
And I want to thank my cast and crew.
Yay!
Well, we're the cast.
We're the cast.
They're the crew.
Thank you. So you guys are great. Thanks very much.
Thanks again, and we'll see you again. Thank you again for tuning in. And we have a website. So it's www.cookingforallseasons.com, and come and see us. If you have questions, email us. If you want a recipe, let me know, and I'd be glad to. If I don't have one, I'll find one for you. So,
will you try it out for him first?
Yeah. I'll give you a suggestion. If you need something, some meal planning or whatever, let me know. And if you have a suggestion for a show or something like that, let me also know that. Okay, thank you. Bye.
That's fine.
I didn't know who you were filming.
Nothing to see, girl.
We're having fun.
You want me to get you some?
I can bring this up. It's
I'm
so
gonna take those
beautiful.
home
I'll go for it,
because I
Mom.
can
You
use those
you
for
can
food.
do it. Who do you think taught us how to do all that stuff? That's the woman right there.
Oh, that's right.
She did. And now all the list is down and below, so dig down deep in your heart. These are my lifelong childhood friends, and I'm so happy to be here with them and to be able to share this. They have such a lovely home, and they're brothers, and we all grew up together, and this is really a special day for all of us.
Thank you.
Yay!
And thanks to Sarah for all of her efforts. Sarah, there's Sarah.
Sarah, say hello.
Smile.
I already got the hardcore eater.
Yeah, we go last. yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
exactly
You're in
And
the
then there's-
process of getting
And then there's Joel.
yes,
Joel's
Victoria's
hard
little
food.
one. Yes.
Thanks
Little
so
one
fat,
with-
Joelle. I don't know
yes.
what you're going to do.
You're It might be bigger than you to get out there.
Our manners or our forks?
Our manners are shot.
What does it take your pick?
Sorry, I just have to say that.